Subscribe and support the channel.
Alright. So, trying something with my audio because my setup isn't, hardcore. So let's see how it turns out. Hopefully it gets everybody going. So we're not doing a run today, but I'd like to introduce you to the new UI. Thought I could talk about it. And yeah, so this is the new product of QUAZII. So he is an amazing YouTuber. Puts his work is insane. He should really just be employed by Blizzard. So he's kind of set the standard of what good clean UI should look like, and he's created a tool that allows you to import it and get the most updated version without having to do a lot of work. So you have to just download the add-ons and then download his add-on, and yeah. So let's go through it. Let's start with UI. So yeah, you just go to page. You can import a tank DPS, which is actually the one I've got on, and then a healer one. And then you can set the scale, and that's actually really relevant to just your resolution and your screen size. So try them all out and see which one you like. And yeah, so as a healer, QUAZII's healer UI is heavily tailored to an add-on called Cell that he uses. Now, I'll be honest, it took a lot for me to transition to what I know, what I'm comfortable with, what I've spent maybe years of my life using, and moving over to this WeakAuras kind of configuration and everything. And healing is quite new to me, and I do want to kind of keep the aesthetic that's going on. So he's got, for example, these are all colored the way the class colored. So what I've done instead is actually made it so that the names are colored so that the class and the reason being is, maybe you'll see it, maybe you won't, we'll see. ELVUI, the unit frames, has actually got a built-in color highlighting, and because I'm just such a lowly healer, I'm just trying to see if I can get it to go. Because I'm such a lowly healer, I don't know, I'm just used to it. So when there's like a poison or a curse, things will kind of go purple or green, so on and so forth. This is a terrible dungeon to display it, but yeah, and so that brings me to the healing add-on that I use. So I use Click, which is basically you can assign spells. So if I was to left click, right click, shift click, where is this person? Oh, he's way in there. Shift click, so on and so forth. So if I shift right click, it's chain heal. If I left click, it's riptide. If I right click, it'll apply earth shield, so on and so forth. The interface is quite nice, so will it let me do it? So it's here. You can just quick bind mode, and you can start clicking on whatever you want, and it'll assign it. And yeah, so the downside is if I want to actually get the menu, I gotta control right click to do that, or control left click to click on someone. You can actually assign if it's a friendly target, you can assign spells. So left click on a friendly target is the Riptide, but on an enemy is Lava Burst. So bap, there you go. So yeah, and then that's pretty much me. But anyway, and yeah, and here's, I'll wait for this combat to go. Actually, I'm just gonna leave. Let's leave it. Let's go. So yeah, the general sort of layout, I love it, but I had to make, oh my god, there's a giant fly just next to me. Personal adjustments, and I'm quite happy with it. One of the other things I did was I put this numerical health figure, so the default setup that he has doesn't have it. I like to know the health of things. When I'm encountering new monsters or bosses or world bosses, the health is kind of indicative of just generally am I in for a hard time, but that's just me. It's also heavily tailored to people who just know what they're doing. So for example, I click on this player, I can't see what buffs he has. It's especially if you see someone on a cool mount, you can't see the mount they have, so you don't see any icons. And yeah, I don't know if there's just something I missed or where it is, but basically it's not designed for that. Yeah, I mean, I love it and I kept it, and I'm gonna now adapt it, and I think his intention was to give you this beautiful clean UI with these intuitive things, and it's still, I would encourage people to tailor it to the things that they like and change what they don't. Another example is his action bars. So a good player would know exactly all the keybinds that these spells are attached to, and I'm not a good player. So I like to sometimes just look down and see the keybind I've got to hit. Eventually this can go, so I think at default the way he set it up is it's a mouse over. And yeah, and he's also provided this amazing buff class kind of weak aura, and we'll go over how that looks as well. But if you go into your abilities, you just spend a little time and you can actually arrange things, and you can actually edit the layout. And so what I've done is I've done it so that it mirrors, so you can see the top row is all my totems plus the Riptide, and then so on and so forth. So it's again, so that's shift 1 2 3 4, and then that's control 1 2 3 4. Yeah, and then he has other weak auras for the class, like, so it has a text that says what kind of your rotational buffs are missing. I prefer this weak aura. I don't know who made it, it's not mine, but it's great because it actually highlights yellow once that number goes below like 4 or something. So it just allows you to just track things without a text on your screen. But yeah, no, it's great. So let's go back, and that kind of brings us to WeakAuras. So yeah, it's really easy. You just literally click import, and then you would go import, and then it just defaults into a perfect kind of layout, and then you can start to customize it. So yeah, and then he also has non-class WeakAuras. So yep, this is a great example. So group heal and mana. So his one, he tracks the mana as like a text, and you could see, if you saw before, there were no mana bars or resource bars on my party. So when I was tanking with this, I realized I couldn't see my heal's mana. And what I did was I edited it. Maybe I could show you. Hold up, let's do this. I edited so only healers I will see. Oof, that's really loud. only healers, their mana bars will appear for me. So let's see if that loads. Yep, so there you could see. And then the other thing was, so you can see it's changed to my LE layout, which I haven't really customized or done anything, so excuse the mess. But yeah, so you could see that, you can see that, so you know what's going on. I've also put the symbols, especially as a healer. I know that the top one will always be the tank, and then the next three will DBS, but I am slow, so you know, this is my attempt of making it lazy friendly. These noises are new though. Yeah, anyway, so there was that. And he also has big wigs, and his version of that. Again, I particularly like deadly boss mods. I've been through this, because it does this thing. So there's this bigwigs thing, you can just pull it in, and maybe bigwigs in his layout does this and I'm just lazy, but deadly boss mods, this voice, it just says move out of puddle, interrupt, and it kind of like cues you with just, you know, instructions on the mechanic without you having to think too much. So as a tank, that's just great for me. I've seen pros where the bigwigs like make different colored beeps and symbols, and they seem to correlate that really nicely, but that's them and I'm me. So anyway, yeah, and then the WeakAuras, going back to that, it also has these really cool, so if you see the mana bars, just this like, it's quite beautiful, it's really really nice. He has also had his own custom bar, and then the last two, so details, yep, so I've got the QUAZII skin. The only thing I think I do different to him is he's got a total damage here. I like using avoidable damage, and I put that on overall. Just helps you kind of keep track on what the players in your queue are doing, and it's very indicative of whether you're going to time it. And Plater, so Plater is great. It's this little add-on. Again, the UI has its own Plater, but this is great. QUAZII has gone through an extensive bit of work where he's found all the mobs where when you're doing, you know, high level keys, they're more important to interrupt a kill, and he's kind of like color coded that. He's also gone as far as setting up like a kick allocation feature, and he's got Omni CD, so you can kind of keep track of all of that. But look, I'm not really at that level, so yeah, this is the outcome. So this is a lot of QUAZII and a little bit of me. I wonder, I do have, so my old layout, what did it look like? Was it just shaman? Let's see. No. I'm so confused. Was it default? No, it wasn't default. Surely it's this. Yeah, it was pretty much this, where I didn't have the WeakAuras. I had kind of all my main spells here, and what I had was the 1 damage meter here, 1 damage meter here, and the party unit frames here, so I could just clickety clackety clack and kind of fill the space up here and keep the rest of the screen free. And this is, yeah, look how different this looks when you just go click, it just pulls it in. So yeah, and yeah, so hopefully Whenever you watch one of my videos and you're wondering, what is this person actually doing? Because he's between just not knowing what he's doing and talking a lot, he's just clicking on things. That's what I'm doing. I'm just doing little clickety clacks. But yeah, in the future, I'm sure I can talk about other add-ons I've got. You know, so this is for non-combat things: Originator, Auto Flood, Blacklist Warden. That's great for mythics. I've even got this. I've got battle scrolling text. That's really cool. No talking heads, so I don't know if you particularly noticed this, but in Siege of Borealis, there's this part where it's not Jaina, but some other Proudmoore, some relative of hers. If you keep clicking the pop-up, it just repeats it, and it does it like 5 times. Can't get rid of it. So I got so annoyed, I went and found an add-on that gets rid of it. You can't disable it in the settings, but the downside is, so I've got war mode on, and so if I'm out in the real world, unless you're reading the chat, you will get no cue that there is, you know, a war crate coming along. Honestly, I don't really care about it that much. But yeah, so that's the downside. Yeah, and yeah, that's my story. That's where I'm at. If you have particular add-ons or versions of Quasi's add-on that you have added that it's added a lot of quality of life, please, by all means, tell me about it. And if it's something my terrible gaming skills can accommodate, I will implement it happily. Alright, thank you all. Goodbye.
Subscribe and support the channel.